Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Roll for Story, the Diamond Soul arc. And we are missing our Diamond Soul, unfortunately, today. But show must go on, and a show we have in store, because today we finally plan to attempt the Great Khan's talent show. So you've been preparing your acts over the last few weeks, mastering the lines and picking out costumes, practicing special effects. And now the day has finally arrived where it all comes together. So at the moment, everyone's sort of chilling in Haran the Gracious's estate, either getting dressed up, getting prepared, and Haran the Gracious is probably addressing everyone, getting everyone like pumped up and enthusiastic about the next few hours. And he says, "Well, you're all looking amazing. You've definitely proven yourselves over the last couple of days. I took you all out on a gamble, but looks like it really paid off. Good job I have an eye for talent. But I know you'll all put out there.
Yeah. Karius just pipes in the case, or in this case, an ear for talent.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. In fact, it was Elias's sultry music that lured me to your group in the first place. I really should be thanking you for that marvelous street performance. Now go out there and do what do what you did last week. Doshi is just going around making sure everyone's looking fancy. He adjusts people's bow ties if they're wearing said things. But is definitely wearing a fancy little outfit. Though I didn't change his token. Just imagine he's wearing, the finest outfit.
I'm imagining a top hat for some reason.
Yeah, I think someone didn't you share a picture in the Discord, Jamey? Yeah. With a with a fake wig. That's great. He looks like a judge. A little cravat. Beautiful. But yeah, if there's anything you wanted to do just before you head out to the stage, let me know. Otherwise, we can just go straight to performance.
Just a second, I've done something and there you go. All good. Karius makes sure that he has what he needs for the performance on him, and just looks
Okay.
to Haran and nods.
Yes. Yeah, he hasn't said anything since that meeting,
Mm-hmm.
but he knows that you know, and he says he placed a great deal of trust in you. Um, Uti had come back at one point to report, and he did get a little bit good on his performance check, but too late now really to act on much information. But he tells you that Uti saw that there was a musician. Uti saw someone playing many instruments. They seem to wear quite elaborate costume as well.
A one-man band sort of deal, I guess.
Indeed.
Well, that could be an interesting opponent, but there'll be no match for the likes of Elias and Andi's skillful musical playing, I'm sure.
Oh, I would say they maybe rival them, but yeah, you know.
What did they look like?
Well, it's the strangest thing. They wore a mask and like a turban, and I saw them in costume. They were like doing a rehearsal. Uti Uti thought the music sounded similar.
Did they have a skeleton with them?
Mm, Uti no. Uti no saw skeleton.
Okay. Was any of the instruments there playing a violin?
Yes. Nods.
Hmm. I look to Andy and be like, well, that's probably our best bet if it's who we're looking for.
I mean, if it's a one-man band, could they that to me says they can't play any of their instruments, so they play a little of everything.
Jack of all trades, but master of none, yet still no better than a
Yeah.
master of one, I suppose. Or, yeah. Well, anyway,
But what if he is a master of all that he plays?
then that would be very impressive, but I don't think music alone, even if you're playing multiple instruments, is going to be enough of a spectacle to catch the eye compared to what you've got planned, Elias, and what you've got planned, Andy. So I think we're still good. But if it is who we're looking for, then that at least, that in a way might even give us an edge if they get distracted by hearing what you play, Andy. And then afterwards we can resolve whatever needs to be resolved.
Okay. Uti will watch performance from
Yes.
the sidelines.
Yes.
Uti has
Yeah.
popcorn ready. And he pulls out a little pop. Starts munching.
I feel the popcorn, and it's just little chunks of rocks.
And they are, yeah. They're tiny little, they're like pebbles. They crunch.
Well, as he's actually given us some
rock corn
reason information, I'll give him the other, I think, 25 gold that I owe. 25 gold's worth of gems that I owe him.
Yeah.
Pop rocks.
Yes, they're pop rocks. Yeah. Isn't that the cereal?
No, they're the little things that like
Crunchy,
explode in
crackly.
your
Oh,
mouth.
those. Right, yeah, like the Willy Wonka's exploding chocolate.
Yeah.
Amazing. Although,
Right.
yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, Uti thanks you for gems. Uti to be of service much more.
Perhaps you certainly seem to be getting better as you go.
And you see, as he stashes away the gems in his little pouch, the other gems that he had on him are all missing. He's just got an empty satchel, and he just fills it with the gems that you've given him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of bores away into the ground. And
secretly got a bag of holding.
It's where I wish I had some. I'm almost tempted, though, Karius being the businessman wouldn't like try to shortchange or something. But me out of character kind of wishes I was playing Elravan so I could give him gemstones, but then they'll just disappear like an hour later because they're illusions.
or fabricate.
Yeah. Or
that's
because the level that Karius is now, if Elravan was the same, he'd have that ability to turn any illusion he makes into a real thing.
Ooh.
But then he'd realise and not come back.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh dear.
He seems a little slow on the uptake, so maybe he'll come back like asking where his gems are, and I'd just be like, I gave them to you, you must have lost them.
Yeah. Uti never forgets. Okay, so Doshi says, if we're all ready, I believe we have to sign in and await instructions, stage directions and such.
Let's go then.
All right, follow me right this way. And eventually you're led all the way through the Tri-Market, past the bustling crowds outside that are still pouring into the stands. You can already hear the excitement and anticipation is in the air. People wondering, like, oh, what are they going to... We've never seen anything like this before. The Great Khan must be really putting on a show. And someone's speculating on what kind of talents that there are going to be. And one of them's like, oh, I hope they have a really cute pet. and it's able to jump through rings. And Uti's like, Uti can jump through rings. You should have trained Uti. Uti could have been best act. And as you're
Does Uti want to
Sorry.
be in the part of the performance?
Probably not a good idea to change the performance last minute, but
oh,
maybe if
I'll
you've
be
got
Easter egg.
if you've got like some placards or something that you can quickly write up, maybe he can just walk in between like the start and middle, just being like, and this is what happened next.
Like Act 1,
Nope.
Act 2.
Yeah.
I was thinking actually maybe being Elias and Kesh'an's
Yeah.
like one. This is an Easter egg sitting on top of one of the buildings. But
Uti, what you should do is you should just pop up, making sure you're not disrupting the performances. Pop up hidden every now and then at the end we'll ask them how many times they saw you, and if they get it right, maybe they'll win a prize.
yes, it's like look under your seat or something.
Yeah.
Or look through your seat, because it's mostly these giant stone steps as you're descending down towards the stage, and similar. It's like a coliseum. The massive granite steps leading down are being filled to the brim. Obviously, I didn't fill them on the map with tokens. That would have been
Just
god awful to load.
I
But
just
imagine
imagine
the
though,
stairs are filled with Dao and genie folk of all kinds, not just Earth Genie, but you actually spot there's like a Marid in the audience as well, which is this kind of watery frog-like creature. In fact, where is it? I might even have one.
I can just imagine now bringing out a book called Where's Uti?
Yeah. There you go. You see this creature here, and he's like stroking
God.
his marbles on his chin, just like checks the time on his Shiso.
Does he
What?
shake his head and wobble his cheeks when he's talking?
He does. That's very
Of course he
boss-ness.
does.
The stage, you can already start to see the other contestants beginning to make their way onto the stage. The first, we'll start with this large, lumbering Zorn-like creature. It's got 3 legs, 3 arms, and you can see a whole host of like little trolleys being pushed by smaller earth elementals, and in each trolley seems to be filled to the brim with all kinds of different items, perhaps to be juggled. As you already know, this is the juggler, and he's already doing stretches. You can see this creature is actually quite limber by the looks. Very flexible, despite looking kind of stony. And down to the bottom, you see this woman with a very kind of stoic expression on her face. She's got long, white, almost kind of silvery hair. She has these triangular and diamond-like tattoos on her body that are of a whitish color. They have simple leathers. There's no big fancy outfit that they're wearing. They seem to have gone with a much more maybe traditional outfit from their own home. But they seem to be in a kind of meditative state as they sit amongst the rocks and boulders that are prepared on this stage, just sitting quietly, taking in the atmosphere.
She's
the
gonna
left,
be the juggler.
is she the juggler? No,
She's gonna
no.
juggle the boulders.
See, that's what I thought. They'll be the lithomancer.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
I would be more impressed if they juggled the boulders.
For some reason, I'm picturing that this is going to be a mixture of like earth bending and lava bending. I don't know why. Or earth and
I'll
fire.
actually save the artwork for when the real performance begins, because that way you can see it better. To the left of her, you see that there is a very kind of older-looking gentleman. He's wearing quite brightly coloured silks and garbs, and he's got this very fancy beard and mustache. It's kind of twirled and to a point, and he seems to be arranging a stack of like slates, or maybe they're made of metal. You're not quite sure, but there's like a whole stack of them he seems to be sort of shuffling them, and they look a bit too heavy to move physically, but he seems to be shuffling them, like making a shuffling motion with his hands, and he's kind of animating them to shuffle. And he's looking around the crowd. He's actually taking notice of people already who are staring at him, and he kind of gives a little nod of respect, and he actually goes up to the crowd and starts performing little tricks and asks one of the crowd to like pull from the stack of cards basically. And he's just performing little minor tricks of wonder for them. They're already gasping and clapping at some of the preliminary act. We have Elias and Kesh'an. We'll come back to you guys.
Yeah.
And then finally, there is a masked individual. He looks humanoid. He's got um quite quite a word. Um, Quite an expensive looking outfit. It's kind of encrusted with gems and gold fabrics, uh, and he's got a mask over his face, kind of hides it. He's got this large turban that kind of wraps around, almost hiding every single feature from view. But currently, right now, he seems to be tuning a violin, and the violin, it looks like it's made of some sort of marble, but whether it's actually marble or not, we don't know.
I would
It would
I'm trying to think if how a marble violin would sound.
exactly. It's likely painted that way just to appeal to the Earth plane,
I
but
mean, it's like the gold violin from down to Georgia. It'd probably sound terrible.
yeah, it would sound all scrapey. Okay. The judges file into this inner ring, and you don't recognize any of them, so that's that. You just see very muscular, powerful looking Dao, and there's also one very beautiful, feminine looking Dao who's kind of sitting there enjoying the show already. She seems to be smiling at the illusionist's preliminary act, and yeah, some of the other Dao look a bit more stone faced. They are not being amused. Maybe they've just been forced to do this, you're not sure. And then finally, the center platform is filled with all these rugs and carpets. But the Grey Khan isn't there yet. I'll hide his token for now. But shortly after you've got onto the stage, you hear an announcer
Are
who.
we meant to be on the map for this?
Oh yeah, let's go there. We
Because you're like, I'll hide the token for now. I'm like,
Yeah. Be
token.
yeah, I'm
Bef-
like, hide the map for now.
Okay. There
before
you go.
performance starts, I would
Yep.
like to fly around and basically, shake hands with each of the groups
Ooh.
and say good luck and whatnot.
Oh, okay. So you're creating a rapport.
Yeah,
Okay.
good
Um,
sportsmanship.
sure. I'll say that the illusionist is very reciprocative. Reciprocative. He shakes your hand, gives you a wish of good luck. He says, "Well, I may be getting old, but you shouldn't underestimate me. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve."
Is it the one next to me?
Yes, that's him.
Mm, I see you'll definitely be the one to compete with. And
I will.
shake his hand, give a bow, and take off to the next person.
Good luck. And
And
this one seems to be very closed off, almost meditative. And as you get closer to perhaps shake their hand, they maybe haven't noticed you, or if they have, they're keeping very quiet.
if they've got their eyes closed and not, I just give them a message and just good luck to them as I pass by.
You see them nod, and she says, "May the most graceful of us win." Is a psychic message back to
Yeah.
you.
I'm gonna lean over to Doshi and go, that one with all the boulders. Do you know what race that is? I don't recognize it.
I'm sure the announcer will let you know exactly what they are.
No, okay.
And
That's fair.
who?
Yeah. And then I cross over to the other two, doing a nice little thing over the top of the
You see,
dose.
this guy,
Just
the guy
size them
with
up
the
at the same time.
violin, he actually is tuning, and as you're like coming up to him, he's like clearly concentrating. And as you get close to him, he kind of shoos you away with the wand.
Do
What
I
a bar.
know if it
Oh,
wants?
thank you.
Do I know if it wants to be tuned one way or the other? Being one to,
Yeah, you probably do.
I just
Yeah, yeah.
hint to him, just like a little bit to the left. Considering he shooed me away, I'm just being a little bit
They
rude to
shouldn't
him.
even look, but it's hard to see their face underneath the mask. And
Who's this
in
guy? Holy crap!
in response, they just let loose a sharp note to sort
Oh,
of drown you
shoot!
out. And then finally, yeah, this is a Zorn. You know what they look like?
Yeah, that is much creepier than the ones you showed us in
Yes,
the
it
battle.
does. Zorns are creepy creatures. I mean, they're monsters after all.
Mm.
However, as you get right close to them, they actually before you got your hand out, they've already got their hand out, and they're like willing to shake your hand.
Inside that, is he going to crush my hand?
Go ahead, insight.
It comes to something when the Zorn appears to be a nicer guy than the other violinist.
You're right. Yeah, you have no idea, Elias, if he's gonna kill you or he's friendly.
I
You're not
shake
even
his.
sure how this one knows
He's a
this guy.
competitor. I shake his hand
Okay, yeah,
and
he
say good
grabs it
luck.
with one big stony hand and then grabs the other side with the other arm and shakes your hand with both hands, like really, really fervently.
He's so
And,
friendly. Oh my god! I expected him to attack me.
and of course, Elias, you hold on a second. Let's check
Uh,
something on your sheet.
what's going on?
Okay, no worries. Um, I'm checking your languages to see if you can speak Terran, and you can't.
No.
So all you would hear is this kind of rough grinding of rock and crushing pebbles just coming from this creature, like.
We take that as a well wish and bow and take off to Andi.
The eye blinks. Okay.
And
You take it back to Andy, and yeah, Andy, you're ready on stage, I'm assuming.
Yeah, she's probably kind of just fiddling with her costume, tuning the violin a little bit, eyeing the masked violinist, multi. Oh, what's the word? The band dude.
Yeah,
My brain can't word today.
that's all right. We're all like that.
I'll say it's literally Andy being like, "Oh, is that Dad?"
Yeah.
She's basically side-eyeing him, but she doesn't want to get her hopes up, kind of thing, just in case, because it just seems a little bit
Irina's
too.
background just like,
I didn't hear that.
Irina's just in the background making gestures at him, like, "I'm watching you."
I wish Andy well. I say, there's no doubt you're probably going to win this. The best bard will.
I
And
mean, it's an open competition. We don't know what the others are going to be like, but I'm not going to straight away say that I'm going to win this thing. You could win this thing, you know. So just
against
so long as one of us wins this thing.
True, going to be tough against the Lady of the Stars. And I shake her hand, give her a Elias signature wink and bardic inspiration.
Oh right, you're giving a bard the bardic inspiration. Like, okay.
Because we can't
Flip
give it to ourselves.
inspirations. She does the same back.
Hell yeah.
Nice. The bards inspire each other before the bard off. That's beautiful.
Bardception.
That's cool.
Tell
Alright.
you what, we have a secret handshake and we can do it.
You
Yes.
each have one half of a maraca. So when you do your secret handshake, it clicks together.
Click, click. Amazing.
I am having trouble hearing you, Steph. You might be a bit
Oh.
far away from the mic.
No, that might be my voice. Voice suppression. There we go. Sorry,
Noise suppression. That's charming.
Steph's suppression. I try again.
I said you get like one half of a castanet sort of thing each, and they click together when you do your handshake. So
We definitely need that.
There
Yeah,
you
that
go.
sounds like a good idea. And the castanets only come together whole when we do the handshake.
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
clicking, clacking.
yeah. Like a little click, click, secret handshake.
So
All right. The clickety clack.
we're inspired. We're ready to go. Formalities and sportsmanship has been done.
Beautiful. All right.
I also message each of the DAO as I go over, just like, this one's for you.
Oh, what are you're handing them?
Message spell. Just
Oh, a message. Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
I'm putting out the feels. You know, when you go to a gig and you think
Yeah.
that the actor's made eye contact with you, and you go, oh, this is about
Mhm.
me. I'm putting out those feels.
Gotcha. Okay. Sure. They seem to be responsive, but they are currently like looking down at their notes and things and their scorecards. Speaking of score,
Hell
I've
yeah.
changed the elevation to one of these. Can you see? No,
You
does
have?
this work? Let's type in one. You can see like 1 foot on this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll use these to represent the score they're currently giving you. So if you imagine FT stands for fantastic talent points, then there you go. What? Don't give me that look. Okay, so just because when you go through each round, you might decide to focus on one person more than other, depending on if they're like in the lead or not. Okay, all right, let's get on with this. So the announcer steps forward and welcomes with a big kind of like gong clash. Everyone in the crowd hushes, and yeah, you see this large, flamboyant Dao swooshing around the stage, getting everyone's attention. Attention, everyone! Ladies, gentlemen, elementals, creatures from the deepest, darkest earth. Welcome to the Dismal Delve's finest. The Great Khan stage has been created just for this special occasion. This first of perhaps many talent shows, depending on how well this one goes. Let's hope that we really blow it out the park. Because everyone knows this is a welcome change from the traditional fight pits. And you get a few like boos from the crowd. And then goes, oh, come on. We all knew they were getting old. Cliche. Time to break the mold. And with a lineup of mold breakers tonight, we hope to do just that. But before I introduce them, there is one very special guest that I should introduce to everyone, and yet he needs no introduction. All raise, all stand for the Great Khan, leader of the Sevenfold Maze. And I won't go through them all, but he lists about seven different titles. Actually, how many segments are there? 4, 8, yeah, 6. We'll go with 6. He lists like this massive long introduction that probably lasts the length of him reaching the stage. So he begins at the top of the stairs on this massive, like, he's got like this own platform. You know how like you'd imagine like Jabba the Hutt's got its own like platform that he just raises and floats across. This one is the same, and it is actually being lifted by probably dozens of Earth Elemental slaves. and they just silently heave this massive platform. And on it, you can see the rotund and decadent Khan himself. Kind of got this cracked red marble skin. He has jewelry on almost every single appendage you can possibly imagine, and rings that are encrusted with probably the most dazzling and fabulous gemstones that have been dug from the earth. His head is multifaceted. It has about 6 in total, in fact. Hence why there is 6 stages, 6 placements. So you can keep an eye on every single performance at once. And this very domineering looking helmet that's kind of spiked and rises up. And you can see a bright glowing gem on the top of that as well. It's yeah. And as he walks in, you can see one face is delighted, it's excited. Another one looks very stoic. Another face looks kind of mean-spirited. And yeah, it seems as though he's got quite a display of personalities on at the moment. Nonetheless, finally the platform is lowered onto this mountain of cushions and carpets, and he begins to make himself comfortable. And he raises a hand, and everyone then is seated. And yeah, he seems to be enjoying a smoke on his hookah, which is hooked up with these expensive-looking powders. He begins just breathing into the air this kind of plume. Anyway, after that, he begins to introduce the contestants. And I believe now is a good time to decide who will be our first contestant.
I thought we were all playing at once.
We are. But I have to go in order for order's sake. Did I just 6? Okay, so I was starting with this zone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, meaning the bard, the violinist, will be playing first. Yes, so he introduces the Shrouded Siren. Will be playing first here. Will be our first contestant I introduce. They are a master of the arts in music, talented across a number of different instruments, so I hear today. They'll be playing perhaps but just a few of their favored. And yeah, he begins sort of strumming on this mandolin that he has readied, and he places that down and then picks up the violin and kind of readies themselves. And it looks like they've also got a flute as well, we'll say. Seems he's got a different instrument for each sort of segment of their performance, perhaps. Not much is known about the Shrouded Siren. They are mysterious as they are alluring. Some say their music is otherworldly, but they could charm even a Medusa. Their melodies. I see there's already a few fans in the audience swooning, but no one's to know if this individual is looking for love or fame. Perhaps they will achieve both by the end of the night. Moving on, we have which is the Zorn Elemental of the deepest depths. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's quite a difficult pronunciation in Terran. Nonetheless, this here today is a rare creature. Some say they gave up a life of plundering the depths and instead found a new passion in juggling gemstones. We'll see what else they were able to juggle today. but their talents are well known. All right, and next up we have, and you have given away your real name, right? I'm guessing, or have you got some sort
Yeah.
of stage name?
No, she will use her real name.
Okay, all right then. So we have far from the material world, but one that mirrors perhaps our own sandy, hot environment. From the deserts of Gydia and the Claude Coast, and the dry oasis, sorry, we have Andali Alamin, a musician as well. Looks like we'll have quite the bard off up in our midst, and of course, accompanying them will be backup. What do you think? Stagehand? Or shall we not introduce you? You trying to keep to the shadows?
I'm just an assistant.
You're just
I'm
an
not,
assistant,
like,
okay. And we have the camaraderie of assistants that will be accompanying them for special effects. Can't wait to meet them all. All right.
mysterious ghost.
Yes, the mysterious, the silent scholar. Yes. Anyways, what was it next? Oh yes. Okay, the next individual. This is an exotic race, you could say, hailing from a plane of volatile magic. She is a core, a lethomancer. She wields stone like it was a flag. She has an innate power that has been mastered from a very young age. We are not just seeing a display of art, but one of culture. Please give it up for what's her name? The Stoneforge Mystic. And there's a lot of like murmurings in the crowd, like that really kind of sounds appealing to them, like stone forging and lithomancy. It's like, ooh, everyone's like, oh, can't wait for this. Yes, but she is simply called the Stoneforge Mystic. So she begins to stand up as her name is announced. Okay, and then next up we have an elderly fellow, but don't let appearances fool you. This wise ancient illusionist has been at his talent for many, many years. I haven't got a name for this guy. We'll just call him
Tom.
We'll call him Smoke and Mirrors. Yes. Smoke and Mirrors, the illusionist, everyone. I think a couple of the people in the crowd have already got to know him. Quite the crowd pleaser. And then finally we have, oh goodness, Elias, Tyrnor, Bali, Alumin, Banan, entertainer and musician extraordinaire. And is, of course, Kesh'an, Master of Strings, yes. And Kesh'an the Almighty, Kesh'an the Strong, Kesh'an Swiftfoot, very, very swift. You all heard his song in the bars and taverns, and now he's here to flex on all you haters. Alright. Oh, and Jugmug, he's here too. Hey. Alright. Now that introductions are over, it'll be simple to explain the rules. Everyone performs at once. No interferences. No non-direct interferences. The judges will be giving you a scoring on each round. And at the end of the round, at the end of the competition, those scores will be tallied. The Great Khan himself will also be keeping a secret score, a personalized one for each of you. And it will be revealed right at the very end. but you would do well to please him most of all. Without further ado, let's get into the performances. Take it away, the Shrouded Siren. Let me change his name. Alright. Always for everyone. There we go. Alright, cool. So, his opening tune is one that's there to build sort of this building atmosphere, this tension, this anticipation. And he's starting with we'll start with the mandolin, actually, as it happens. Just because it's an instrument that he can sort of play lightly and then strum faster and faster, then begin to break out into this really upbeat tune it's sort of an explosive start to the actual performance. And already he begins dancing around the stage as well, sort of getting right into the audience's face, and then turning, pirouetting, and then heading towards the judge as well. And then just as he kind of breaks out into the full melody, you begin to see magical illusionary effects explode on stage, colors, lights, you name it. There is an abundance of magical effects. Whee, there we go. Actual notes take form and then pop like magical bubbles. And they seem to be a lot of greens and yellows. And yeah, this melody is quite something. I'm going to actually roll performance for him to begin with. And I'm just going to check something. Yeah, okay. This is going to be quite the... Okay. Let's see how well he does. Boom. Yeah, no, sorry, that came as Andi. It's
I haven't done
the saddest
anything
part.
yet.
Sorry.
Get a
that was
29 and I haven't even touched the violin yet.
Sorry, that was supposed to be the Shadow Siren.
Your performance is just that good. It reverberated back in time.
Maybe. No, that's the Siren's 29. He actually is a masterful musician. A couple of people in the crowd are just jaw-dropped and mind-blown by the actual performance. The notes he's playing, the swiftness, as well as the melody is so catchy that this might just be the anthem for the Great Khan. And in fact, have we got any music? I ain't got much music. But just imagine. So, that is the first half of his performance. The second half, he actually gets to choose whether he's going to go distract someone effectively. And I think there is a lot of things going on, distracting wise, like colors, light. So,
we doing it all as one, or I thought we were doing it like at
we are doing well. You'll see. You'll see. It'll become clear how this is run. I just didn't want to bog you down with all the rules. So it's better to show you rather than tell you. So you can either make one action basically. You can concentrate all of his effects on distracting one person, or he could distract a number of people. I'm gonna say, as this is the first act, he wants to be grabbing as much attention as possible. So what he's going to try and do is, with all these lights and colors going on, he's going to attempt to distract the two opposite, the two adjacent, and whilst empowering his own performance. It's kind of like saying, hey, I'm going to make myself look better whilst making you guys look worse. So, in order to do this, we're going to make a contested roll. He's probably going to use the performance as this roll, and the others are going to probably roll something con-based, because there's so many lights and flashes that it's kind of dazzling, and so to not be blinded or distracted by it, we're going to roll a con save for the Zorn, and you can roll a con save on, I guess, Kesh'an or Elias.
Con save.
Yeah, con save.
Oh, why not?
Nice.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, not bad. Question is, and because he's trying to distract two of you at once, I'll say this is a little bit trickier for him. I'm not going to give him disadvantage, but I'm going to roll a d20 and give him plus 9. Oh wow. Okay. So he gets an 18, which is enough to dazzle the Zorn, and it does seem as though that actually affects him quite considerably. He only got one eye on one side each, so that one eye is kind of like closed and blinking, and already you can start to see his juggling as he's trying to begin his juggling. It's already a bit unhinged. But Elias, you're not phased. You bring up these big stone walls, probably blocking the light and flashes. All right. So for the 29, I'm going to award him 1, 2, 3 points because he got a 29, which is pretty huge. And I'm also going to award him an extra 1 because he was able to distract the Zorn, sort of to make him look better. The Zorn is currently a -1. And that's it. That's his turn. That's it. So moving on to the Zorn. Okay, so the Zorn begins small and is actually using a set of gemstones, each one of them different colored, and you see that the lights in this place seem to reflect, guys, the light in many different directions, and it's sort of like a light show at the same time as it juggling, but each one glows at its apex in the juggle as he throws it up into the air. It's standard juggling at first, but when he starts incorporating a third arm, he's able to make these loops that cross over one another. So it's like he's got two. It's like there's almost like there's two jugglers, but there's only one. But they're crossing two sets of juggling going on, which is actually quite impressive. 3D juggling, yeah. All right, so their performance is also pretty off the wazoo. I'm gonna roll d20 plus 14. 26. Okay, they're doing just as well as the Shrouded Siren. And let me just change the name, because their token name is just Zorn at the moment. Okay. There you go. Alright. So, the juggling is going well, the performance is definitely interesting, the doubt, and I'm going to also give him an extra point because favoritism. Basically, actually no, that's for the Khan. The Khan looks over towards this and is most impressed. Seeing gemstones, there's something of favorite of his, it definitely looks like. So you can see he is taking quite a lot of note. What else was I gonna do? Oh, he was on -1, wasn't he? He's on 2 now. Okay, and as for distractions, you know, I just forgot something in my own rule set. I was gonna ask you guys, now that you kind of got an idea of what you can do as distractions, I'm gonna ask you guys ahead of time what you actually want to do, because you kind of got to declare this ahead of time, just so I know if you want to choose to counteract distractions, which is an option, right? So instead of trying to distract others, you can instead choose to do a countermeasure, which is basically to just ignore or even throw it back in their face. It's like, here, you drop this, and you can throw it back at them effectively. So the other options are you can focus wholly on distracting someone, which would give them like a -3. Or you could split it up. You could do like -1 there, -1 there. Or there's totally other options if you can come up with them. Say if you want to distract everyone but yourself.
We're going in order, so does
Yeah.
Andy want to do first?
Now I remember you saying that the first act has got a lot of water and waves.
Yeah, this is the part
Yes.
where we've got all the sheets.
Yeah. So what if you use that as a distraction to make the water spill over the stage and make it slippery for others? Or
Well,
It's not actually water.
yeah, but
oh yeah, true.
to be perfectly honest, when it comes to performing, that's the one time Andi won't play dirty, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because she is very much, she loves her art form. She'd rather perform to her best rather than trying to infiltrate others while she's doing that bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
So
that's why
if
I kind of made it twofold, right? You'll definitely be doing your performance still, but you could also have your hands as a byproduct, sort of causing in non-direct distractions.
I think
yeah,
for
that's going to
us,
be a little bit too much for my brain to think about today.
I also think for us, our main directive here is not to distract others, it is to get attention
Yeah.
from someone very particular.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, as I said, we're on the defense when it comes to the distractions, not.
Okay. In that case, then, you see all these giant flashing lights and colors from the direction that you're trying to perhaps get attention, and it is highly distracting. So you could try to implore some countermeasure.
Yes, countermeasure was the fog.
There it is. All right, that's what I needed to know. Okay. And then Elias, what did you want to do on your turn?
So
Distract or
planning ahead of time, he gets two of the Lithomancer servants to pop up walls on either side. Because
okay.
by putting walls up, it brings focus to his performance, because that's all you can see in that direction.
Gotcha.
And also blocks line of sight between the other two.
Okay.
So basically just walls in between.
So a countermeasure.
Same sort of thing. Not aiming for distraction. This is a performance. It's an art form, and we're going for just pure.
Okay.
This is what we got. So like.
So that completely
Yeah.
changes the earlier distraction. Instead of getting a +1 for that earlier, I'm going to give him a -1. Reason being, as you bring up these walls, they actually create this kind of echo effect where the sound is bouncing off of the wall, and it creates this kind of discordance in his music, which isn't good, because there's also this side of the audience can't even hear the music because it's being kind of blocked off, and it also blocks all the flashes as well. So instead, he kind of gets caught on his own distraction, trying to make this sound as loud as possible, ends up echoing right in his ear, almost deafening himself against the wall. So because you countermeasured, that +1 turns into a -1, and they got thrown back in his face. All right. As for the others, this guy, the Zorn, is actually going for more of a distracting thing, and I'm gonna just roll to see which segment this distracts, because it's not direct. It's sort of himself. No, anyone but himself. I should roll a d5.
Be the guy next to him who was classed as number 1.
He is number 1.
Oh.
I counted from him, so
Okay.
Shrouded Sirens number 6. That's where we started. 2. Okay, sorry, it's Andi. Thankfully, though, you have a
Oh, no, because
animation.
if you've done it 1 to
Yeah.
5, technically it bumps round
It'd be-
1.
Oh yeah, my
It's
bad.
the-
You're right. Okay, so what happens as he throws these gemstones up? They get so high. Do you remember me describing that massive pillar of crystal in the center that's kind of glowing?
Yeah.
That amber color bounces off these gemstones and reflects straight down into the eyes of the core lithomancer. Change your name. And yeah, gets right in their eyes, so it potentially distracts them. I'm going to roll a contested check. Going to be their dex. Okay. Actually, I was thinking this would be more like acrobatic to juggle. Yeah, it's acrobatic. Yeah, okay. 1d20 plus 13. 25. Damn. He manages to get the angle just right. Unluckily for the Stoneforge missed it. I'm going to roll a con save for them.
Keep rolling it in.
Yeah, I know I do. It's because... Oh! She is completely unfazed. Remember how I said she had her eyes closed? Yeah, exactly. Need I say any more? It does nothing to her. Nonetheless, yeah. There we go. 1 point. Gonna text something. All right, it is over to you guys, Andi and Eirina. Your boat is currently shrouded by this fog. And when I say fog, it's kind of a dusty-looking fog. They tried to color it a grayish color, so they're using like gray dust to create the fog effect. But these are, of course, little dusty methods.
And then this is the point where obviously we're going to start slow
These
and
guys.
quite calm. And as the fog starts to dissipate, that's the part where I start setting off the Eldritch Blast. As
Nice.
like the thunder and the lightning. And then obviously the boat's going to start moving around. And then Andi can decide how she goes with the music.
Well, I kind of saw it like, you know, kind of like in the start of Prince of Egypt, where it starts off kind of like very traditional lilting sound, and then you get suddenly the big explosion of music, and that's when the storm starts.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like when it's like the smoke sort of starts to clear, that's when it kind of goes
boom, sort of thing.
Nice.
And I will note Andi's probably cast levitate on herself, so she's actually levitating above the stage at the moment.
Ooh, okay.
While she's performing this.
Okay.
So of course she's a bit at a higher vantage point.
Nice. The explosion of music catches all the crowd unaware. They didn't expect anything like this, especially in an earth plane. The earth elementals begin rolling underneath the waves to create that effect. In fact, turn this around. There we go. And yeah, and your music, you can roll a performance check for that as well. See how well that goes. Let me grab these earth elementals. Wait, yeah. 29. Damn, just as good as the Shrouded Siren. Almost, you could say, uncannily on par. Yeah, like the musical.
What a coincidence!
Yes, indeed. The Earth Elementals are also part of this performance, and they are doing a great job as practice. You see them rolling underneath the waves, going up and down, creating that really cool effect. And the ship is impressive as well. I know I didn't get a better token, but it is now fully painted. The mast, the sails are a sight that is wowing everyone in the audience.
Just quickly, Andy, I can't remember which character did you take on for the performance.
At this part,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I would guess it would make more sense that she's kind of like playing the mother.
Right. Okay, in which case, I'm gonna duck down really, really quickly behind the prow as I'm steering. I'm gonna take all my hair and I'm literally gonna wrap it to mimic the guy's turban.
Okay.
That's a great pun.
No! The guy we're trying to get his attention.
Oh,
the
sorry.
siren.
Sorry, the shrouded siren, gotcha.
Because obviously, if I'm playing Andy's dad for this segment, then I'm kind of like, eh?
Right, gotcha. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, I imagine right now Andy's still got her cloak on, it's billowing around, she's got the hood up and things like that for dramatic flair kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the point where we're sort of escaping, so I've got like the dual baby Andy kind of like tucked under one arm. Steering through a storm.
I want to let you know that with the 29 you'll be awarded 3 points from the judges. However, if you wanted to push that, if you put it up, if you used your bardic inspiration, you would get 4 points because you need just one more to get into the next threshold. Basically, it goes 15 is 1 point, 20, 2 points, 25, 3. And if you want to spend bardic inspiration, I'll give you an extra point. It's up to you.
Do we want to do it or do we want to save it?
I mean, the earlier we get ahead of the game, the better.
The better. Yeah,
Again,
let's do it then.
We just want the man's attention. We don't want really anything else out of this.
All right, nice.
Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll do it.
Perfect. So yeah, go ahead and roll it anyway, because if you end up getting 35, which is a possibility, then you'll get an extra 2. What's your bardic inspirational lance? What is it? A D10?
It will be
D10.
D10, isn't it?
Yeah, D10.
Yeah. Okay, so roll a D10, and if you get, oh my god, that's a 35. That's incredible. So extra burst of inspiration is, I mean, to be honest, everyone, and even I, the Great Khan seems to be in agreement. This is probably the best opening of all of the performances so far. The others have been kind of predictable. A musician, got it, yeah. A juggler, got it. They did not see an entire ship with an ocean wave, the way it's created. Some of these Dal have probably never even seen the ocean, and they've always been told it's a terrible place because of it's harsh. It's in direct counter to their own, but seeing this,
it's wet.
Exactly, they would think. But seeing this in front of them, it's changed their entire perspective on what it is. They see the beauty in it, and they see the majesty of the open sea. And yeah, brilliant. You've wowed the crowd. And at the moment, you're in a countermeasure type state. So if anyone tries to distract you, then you'll hopefully throw it back in their face. So for now, the Earth Elemental is wheeling around this giant ship, but you can't see the wheels. It's sort of shrouded by a little low-hanging fog. And yeah, brilliant. Okay, we have some more splashy splash. There we go. Whee. All right, cool. And now onto the Stoneforge Mystic, which you would think there's going to be something mystique about what she's about to do, but in fact, she actually begins very much slowly and just sort of breathing in, breathing out, and then she does these very quick practiced movements with her arms, which sort of stretch out, and you see this sort of glow about her that rises off of her body, especially kind of near around the shoulders. It's just this kind of white, almost a ghostly sort of spirit, maybe her own spirit perhaps, that sort of rises out of her, and she then reaches out towards the stones and grabs at something invisible she then begins pulling away from the two boulders either side of her, and everyone can hear this sizzling sound, this burning, almost as if the rocks have began melting. And from the two boulders either side of her, you see now what she is grasping onto are two hilts from either side. It's like she's drawing a sword from the stone. Let me find you the art for this. I had just a second ago. Oh, there it is. Here we go. This is what you begin to see drawing out of the two boulders. These swords beginning to sort of twist like molten metal. They begin to heat up like they've been pulled out of a forge, and the heated metal also begins to bend and meld into a double-bladed sword of some description. It's still taking form at the moment, but you can see it takes all of her concentration to do this. And people are just watching like they've never seen magic like this before. And she then turns to the other boulder in front of her and then begins sort of shaping that as well, molding it, shaping it. I'm going to see what she gets. It's less of a performance, more of sort of well, it is definitely a performance, but it's clearly a profession in addition to an art form. I'm going to give a +12 on this. Hey, she did pretty damn good too. Everyone's got a good, strong start. We like it. We like to see it. So yeah, you see the Dao hold up 3 points towards the Stoneforge Mystic. Though she doesn't seem to be taking in the crowd. She doesn't seem to be reveling in the moment. She instead seems focused, concentrating, and just making sure her craft is what comes first and the act second. And people are seeing that, and there's a sign of respect from the audience. Okay. She, in terms of distraction, if there's anything directly distracting, I was going to say no. She's not really out to distract anyone at this point. She's still got her eyes closed. She's more in a countermeasure type state. So she's just not focused on what anyone else is doing. She's in a like zen. So I'm gonna see if she can actually roll. No, nothing. She doesn't roll anything. Right. Okay. Moving on. All right. The illusionist. Good guy, lithomancer. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So the lithomancer, instead of having this big music or this big act, he actually turns to the crowd and begins addressing them. He says, "Right now, which one of you, ladies and gentlemen, likes magic?" And you hear the crowd sort of erupt in cheers. All of you. Well then, perfect, because I've got a little something in store for you. And you start to see the slates, the stack of cards, effectively spinning around him, and he's twirling his fingers. And you see illusionary birds sort of lifting the actual cards themselves. And he says, "All I need is a volunteer." And you see the crowd is all raising their hand. Everyone wants to be a part of this. And he goes, "Oh goodness, I can't pick between all of you. This is going to be very tricky. I just need one." And he turns towards the judge and says, "Ah, perfect. And who better? Would you do me the honor?" And you see the young, beautiful Dal look, and you can see she's smiling. She already knows that this was she was going to pick her kind of all along almost. And she says, "Certainly, of course. Well then, please come up onto the stage." And you start to see her like stand up, and he says, like, "Well, let's give it up for our wonderful judges." And he begins swirling the cards around her, fanning them out, and he says, "Please pick a card." and she begins choosing from amongst them. She goes, this one, and he says, "Of course, don't show me." And she hides it, and he says, "Now to put it back." She shows the audience, of course. He has like eyes closed or something. And yeah, he's actually getting the judge involved in his magic trick the whole way. And he begins shuffling. And the shuffle is the most mesmerizing thing you've ever seen. All while, because they're not like cars, they're actually made of stone. They make this kind of clickety-clack sound constantly. And as someone who plays a lot of Magic the Gathering, and you get these people who shuffle like so often and so many times, it's almost what's the word?
Hypnotic.
Obnoxious. It's so obnoxious. When people shuffle like continuously.
I've got a couple of people at work when we're playing Deadlands, when you've obviously got to shuffle for like the initiative and stuff, and how they shuffle, and it's just like, I'm jealous you
Like,
can
"Are
do
you
it,
done
but
yet?"
stop it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, please stop now. That's the kind of same mood you're getting from this guy. It's just like shuffle, shuffle. Okay, cool. Is he done? Nope. He does a riffle shuffle. Then he does a fan shuffle. Then he does a backwards alley oop shuffle. I don't know all the other names, but either way, he does every possible imagine shuffle. In fact, here we go. See if this plays. It does. Amazing. The audience is still captivated by it, and I'm going to roll his performance check to see just how well he goes.
It's so cool. Animation.
I know, right? Cool. We're gonna give this guy a plus 12. 17. So yeah, after a while, people are like, okay, yeah, we get it. You shuffled him, and they just want to see. They just want the payoff. They want to see the act. And he does, of course, pull out the correct card. He says, "Is this your card?" And she goes, "It is." And everyone's like, "Oh, well done!" Clapping. But it was kind of very obvious what was going to happen. He was going to get the right card, and he's obviously shuffled it in a way that he remembers which placement he put it in. Everyone's sort of seen this before, it seems, but maybe he's building up to this. I will give him 2 points because he's involving the judge, so he kind of gets favoritism points. But his performance overall wasn't as crazy good as everyone else's. It was sort of simple magic. As far as his distraction goes, he is trying to clickety clack. So, Elias, you can hear this god awful sound. Do you want to give me a con? Actually, I'm going to make Kesh'an roll the con save this time because you're on. I'll say you're on the other side, bringing up those walls, right? And you've already rolled one, so I'm going to roll Kesh'an's instead.
Okay. But I'm the one making the music.
Yeah, I know, but gotta have some chance of. I mean, it's mostly supposed to be Kesh'an. You're supposed to be the sort of backup. But anyway, nonetheless, 13, and I'm gonna roll for the Stoneforge Mystic as well. And as core, she actually has really good con. Oh, she's got like a +4.
Before you roll, would I have been able to?
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I would have wanted to bardic inspiration him on my as part of my turn anyway.
Well, you've already got a bardic inspiration, haven't you?
Not for Kesh'an. I'm gonna do it every turn.
Oh, you're
anyway.
gonna do it on Kesh'an.
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna do it every turn anyway. I've got 4 of them.
Okay. Yes, Kesh'an can use that.
But I don't think it'll matter because.
Well, it might
Yeah,
matter because you're saving against what he's doing in order to. The fact that she succeeded won't affect what you get. I don't think, but 13 is probably not going to be high enough at this stage, so I'd probably roll
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
I'm gonna roll a separate roll for his distraction, which is gonna be this.
Yeah, so roll that
You're gonna be
d10 and hope. 21.
Is
You
that
got it.
21 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saved.
That's
And in
Maths.
as a result, the wall that you brought up actually intercedes some of his shuffling, and you see that the cars like bounce off of it, and he has to account for that, and it makes the shuffling a little bit awkward as he's spinning them around, using as much room as possible, and it actually ends up bouncing and chipping away some of the cars as well. Like, no, my prized cards. So as a result of that, he gets -1. Poor guy. He's already trailing behind. Nonetheless, that's his act. Kesh'an, your turn.
So,
Thank you,
considering
Elias.
that
You know the act better than he does, so you take it away.
everyone else has better performance than Elias,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be rough. So Kesh'an will be starting behind the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Jugmug is in a hole in the floor.
Okay.
He can breathe. Don't worry. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
he's not needed yet. So it starts with Elias playing his lyre. Nice atmospheric
Mhm.
music. He pops a couple of fairy fires to create like a starlit sky, and there's stars and stuff. Some of them shooting.
Okay.
That's how he's flaring his fairy fire in this sense. And then he pops a major image on this back wall to make it look like a castle looming over a forest. And then it pans down to the trees, and Kesh'an comes out on one of the tree branches through the wall.
Nice.
And then the lithomancers we've got are creating these horizontal pillars that Kesh'an will be jumping across.
Here they come.
So from out of this wall, and they'll be moving like a travelator down the wall to keep him in one spot so he doesn't run off the stage. But
Yeah.
tree branches, and he's leaping from them.
Oh.
Whether you want to make him do acrobatic checks or whatever.
I'm sure Cirque du Soleil has something like that.
I was
Their
just thinking
performances.
that. Yeah.
Never seen Cirque du Soleil.
They've got this big platform that sort of like swings and rotates while they're performing on it. It's really cool.
That does seem really cool.
It's like
So-
suspended in the air as well.
Something like that, but it looks like he's jumping across trees as he's like hastily trying to get to where he needs to go. And all the meanwhile, once the atmospheric music comes out, it's turning into like a Kickapoo style Tenacious D music, telling a story of what's going on. And
Okay.
and then I'm also going to incorporate the thing as Kesh'an as a DAO is going to come
Mhm.
across a 4. So I pull out the deck of illusions and offer it in front of this guy as I'm playing.
Oh, okay. Cool. They pick a card just very much the same way.
As soon as they
They're
take
like,
it,
"Hey, that's my trick."
I take it off them and just chuck it behind me backwards.
Amazing.
And it is a D32, I believe.
All right.
Ah, it's 32. Or did I just roll
You
32?
should.
No, I rolled
Yeah.
1D32.
You did,
Actually did.
and you got 32. Crazy. But you got the very last one, which is you.
Myself.
You. It's you. Is that right?
Yep, I'm the bad guy
What?
in this instance.
Amazing. There we go.
But I'm imagining it's like an evil version of me, like scar over the face.
Shadow Elias. It's
Shadow
it's a version of you that sided with Strahd. We never broke the charm on you, and you went to Strahd's, castle. You
Dry the form.
made an alliance with him, and you became a vampire. Oh yeah, or the Drowder version.
Dry the
Rider.
Vampire
Drider
Rider.
Elias.
Vampire Drider.
And Elias, not Elias, Kesh'an leaps down from the tree and dispatches the 4 because it's an illusion. It's going to just dissipate. There's
It
no
will,
actual
yeah.
contact.
Oof.
And that's where he goes into a running motion as the Lord Travelator goes through the forest, and that's basically Act 1.
He turns to the crowd afterwards, after like a superhero landing, and goes, "I hate spiders," and everyone's like cheering and laughing. And okay, so you can choose either your performance or Kesh'an's acrobatics to be the center role of this. Now,
It's the same either way.
it's the same either way. In that case, you have the advantage of choosing, and it is an advantage because I'll tell you now, if you use the same skill every single round, which you can, and I'm not stopping you, there's going to be what's called diminishing returns. It's like when you see someone do the same thing, it kind of gets a bit stale. So you'll get maybe one less point each time, okay? But if that's still your highest chance of getting the most points, then, by all means stick with it. But you've got the advantage of choosing what you would like to use this round, and then you could use something different the next round. So you could use Kesh'an's acrobatics now, and then your music later, or vice versa.
How is my acrobatics better than Kesh'an's?
Sorry, your performance.
I'll just use my performance.
Go ahead.
How
And
is
is your
mine-
acrobatics really better than his? That's hilarious.
Yeah, I have a plus 14 and he only has a plus 10. I'm using my oh. At least it's an extra point.
So that's 2 points, I think. Right?
2
Yeah.
points.
Plus participation?
They oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Your countermeasure. Well, you're still in the running.
My countermeasure is just trying to keep everyone looking at me without actually
Mm-hmm.
going at anyone else.
We'll
That's my
say
action. Thing.
the Great Khan looks favorably on your rack. The use of earth pillars and a moving stage like this is actually quite fantastic. And the Great Khan is nodding and almost chuckling when he sees you slay a spider. Like, he obviously understands what a drider is. He's like, when he sees this drider get vanquished. Okay.
So
Okay.
where are we at in points?
Okay, we're back to the top. Mhm. So,
Do I not get one for participating?
Most.
Having...
Yeah, that's a good point.
I got him involved.
Well,
This guy?
you can see that's for the Khan to decide.
No.
Yeah, it is. I'm afraid so. That was only a very small section of it.
Damn it. All right.
We're gonna tally some bonus points at the end, just based on the act overall. So the fact that you've done that is perhaps one element that will be considered. So let's go over to. Oh yeah, okay. The Shrouded Siren. Okay, so for their next act, and this is where you'll basically just see what I mean by the diminishing returns. Is this time they pick up a different instrument. Now, granted, yes, different instrument. However, it is still just music playing, and they're very, very good at it, no doubt. But the judge, you'll see, whew, 32. So that normally would be 1, 2, 3, 4 points, but we're only going to award 3 this time because effectively stale moves, using the same move 2 times in a row. So diminishing returns. As for the light show that's going on, the flashes, the colors that are going on, we're gonna say a distraction. With this, okay, so he's probably using the flute this time around, and at the crescendo of this performance, they let loose this ear-piercing whistle that can almost be heard by the entire crowd. And I'm going to say that is the distraction. So, for this ear-piercing whistle, we're going to give him a 19. Oops. Okay, so the 9. I'm going to write it here real quick. The distraction is a 19, unless everyone else is countering. In which case, You might be able to throw it back in his face. It almost sounded like a scream, the way this flute went off. And afterwards, you sort of see them collapse onto the ground from this exertion, and everyone's kind of like gasps, and they're not sure whether something's gone wrong on the stage or not, or whether they're just building suspense and tension for this. But nonetheless, he kind of collapses onto the ground. Everyone's like, "What? Confused? What?" But he's perhaps waiting for a bigger payoff. Anyway, that's them. The flute sounded quite dark as well. Like, it started with this beautiful grand opening on the first instrument, but this one sounded like it's got these dark undertones to it, and it makes people pay attention for sure. People don't know whether it's intended to sort of create this mood, but people are like unnerved by it in a good way. Like, it's a thrill. Anyway, I'm not sure if maybe even they're casting some sort of fear-like spell in addition to it. Moving on, we have back to the juggler. Let's see, what are they juggling this time? What was your suggestion earlier? Oh, that's right, armadillos.
Yeah.
You know what? We're gonna take that suggestion.
Who maybe do little poses or something at the top of the arc. Or I'm honestly thinking, like, he's juggling him, and it's almost like a red arrow performance. Is like intersecting at just the right point, maybe like high-fiving, or like even like grabbing onto each other and tumbling.
I actually
All I've got in my head is the scene from El Dorado. Who's the god? No, you the god.
Yes. It's that, and 10 times more. It's you know what? Let's get some. There's some Calliope music as well in addition to this. It feels almost like a circus act. These acrobatic troupe of armadillos are flipping, they're spinning, and as you say, they high five in the air. They also, when they land back down, they kind of like do a pose for the audience each time. And
He may look scary, but he's so wholesome.
he is. In fact, there is a scary moment. One point, the armadillo rises into the middle and then pretends to be like flailing as if they've lost the act. As they tumble down, they land in the jaws of the Zorn. These massive teeth clamp onto the armadillo. It looks like they're about to swallow them, and then you see the armadillo pop out of the mouth and give 2 thumbs up to the audience, and it was all part of the act.
I'm now picturing a little safety helmet on it.
That's it. Turns out there's a little net stretched across the teeth, and now it's a trampoline. And they fall into the mouth and then bounce right back out. And given the fact of how much energy there is from this creature, the crowd are like clapping along to each high five. All right, let's roll that performance. Oh yeah, was it gonna go performance? I did acrobatics last time, didn't
You
I?
did.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do performance this time. But two, 1 plus 3. We'll say the armadillos are really they're the ones stealing the show here. They're the ones going for it. Okay, so we count. Plus. Oh, that's nine. You know what? All right, go armadillos! Yay! They do amazing. The audience is loving it. The judge is giving a 3-point. Fantastic for this. Okay. All right.
Just put what I'm imagining a couple of the armadillos look like in the chat.
Oh wait, gotta see this. Like a little hats. Oh, amazing. Okay. Just given how cute these things are, that's a distraction. The crowd are like, oh, and everyone's like, see the shrouded siren like suddenly turn their head, like, what? I'm trying to create a dark mood here. What is these cute armadillos that are like completely in contrast to my dark melodies. Well, one of them even rolls over to the shrouded siren who's laying on the ground pretending perhaps to be hurt, and the shrouded siren's like trying to shoo them away, and the armadillo's like nudging them like, are you okay? We're gonna see if that can distract them. Sure, we're gonna roll a medicine check for the armadillo. Yeah, he's dead. We're gonna roll a deception check for the shrouded siren. Who deception is flipping hell. Okay. The deception's in the. Oh my god. They are completely still, even when the armadillo is like nudging them, pulling them, and eventually just puts their hat on top of the shrouded siren, like over their face to make it look like they're really dead, and they're covering the eyes of the body of the deceased. So they just roll away afterwards, shedding a little tear. But that seemed like sort of a stalemate in those two. So moving on, Andi, it is back to you. Act 2. Oh, I recall. We have the Sultan's palace scene. So the waves give way. The boat is kind of wheeled or probably maneuvered underground. And instead you see the stage beginning to lift up. Your stage hands have done an amazing job of creating this kind of like cardboard cutout of the palace. That for everyone in the audience, they sort of recognize this styled architecture, very earth and fire genasi kind of esque, with domes, almost like candle-like towers. And yeah, what takes place?
The idea was to have the palace sort of in the background while
Yeah.
we're on the boat, and then you have the guy playing the Sultan come in, and there's almost like a chase / sword fight on the deck of the boat, while like both parents are protecting the Andi doll.
Yes, I remember the Andi doll,
which is made
giant,
of jewel.
Yes, it's a giant amber, and it was cut to look like a small child baby.
So I would imagine we kind of choreographed this as a trio together.
So there's you, there's me, and then you've got the guy playing the Sultan, who was one of the servants in Haran's house.
Okay. The Great Khan folds his arms and leans forward slightly to this act. And yes, you would see your Sultan secondary actor beginning to practice his lines, or not practice, but finally deliver them, saying these over-the-top expressions, like, "How dare you steal from the Sultan's very chambers? A single coin must not go unpunished. But you've caused the most atrocious theft of all. You've stolen the Sultan's treasure." And everyone's like, what? The Sultan's treasure? After them. Send every guard. Bring them back, dead or alive.
I can kind of see the way that we've choreographed it. It works like, it kind of sounds like traditional drumming, like with stomping of the ends of the canes and
marching and
with like foot stomping, hitting things, stuff like that in between, just to create this like tribal rhythm, if you will.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. There's a flame. I don't know if we got flames. You know what? I forgot something. You're lightning. You had lightning, didn't you?
No, it wasn't lightning. It was just the Eldritch Blast going off and through the obviously.
Though he's got 2 spells in the Ring of Spell Storing that we stored, right? I can't remember what we stored in the end.
You did store a lightning bolt for sure. and shatters, I believe. I think.
Yeah, because shatter was to be a distraction. No, it wasn't shatter. It was two thunder waves because they create the loud boom as well as being able to be used for defense to knock
right.
something away.
Okay. So is this part of the third act where the stormy?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, gotcha. All right, hiding that. All right, cool. In that case, then this is more about the fight scene across the shops of the the palace and across the walls, and there's like clanging swords. There's definitely all your stagehands for this. Every one of them that Haran has kind of hired. All of the servants come out in droves, and they're fighting. There's just a whole stage filled with them. I guess they can even do like synchronized sword fighting, so it doesn't just look like chaos. So
I have the visual in my head that I quite like, is that obviously Andi as the mother fighting with like the crown of stars shooting light everywhere, and then you've got Eirina using like the smokes from Candlewick, like leaving like a dark trail as she's doing like her fighting. And you've got night and day kind of counteracting together.
Okay, beautiful. What do you want to use as a role for this?
Kind of a mix of performance and acrobatics.
Acrobatics? Yeah, definitely. Flipping from building to building, leaping over the wall.
We're mainly doing more acrobatics in this scene because it's not like I'm playing an instrument right now.
Okay. Yeah, jumping aboard the boat and like, climbing over the rigging, swinging from the ropes to get to the safety, all whilst carrying this amber gemstone child that makes it difficult. So they're having to like balance at the same time. So yeah, we can go with acrobatics. Go ahead, give me an acrobatics check. Woo, not 20! Very nice. That's fantastic. Wow, they're storming away in the lead. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Damn.
They're not just storming away in the lead, they're leading away in the storm.
I like the idea as well that they are throwing the Andi baby doll to each other as they're passing each other. So you get like,
I saw that. I saw that.
Amazing.
Just throw the baby.
Yeah. I would like
That's
to
good parenting. I would like to see the baby.
Natural 20. The gasps from the crowd. They don't know if it's a real thing or not. To them, it might be a baby Chrismal, which is like the little crystal elementals you've seen. But yeah, it's when they do catch a glimpse of it, they're not sure. It's a bit ambiguous whether it is a child or if it is just this beautiful gem that belongs to the Sultan. And the Sultan does his part to perfection as well, really blowing up the haughty anger that the tension is rising from. After the chase scene goes awry, he's like, "No, don't let them get away. Send a ship. We'll sink them if we have to, but get back my treasure." And as he says that, there's a deep, maybe thunder building in the...
Because it's towards the end of this act is when
the ship
goes down and then the parents get separated.
Okay. Yes.
It's almost like, the Sultan is starting to win.
Yes.
Because we're at the separation bit, I kind of see what Andi does is she'll change from the levitation to fly and literally just fly off the stage sort of thing.
Nice. Okay.
Because of course the mum disappears at that point.
She does. And the ship sails away. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, people are loving that there's a story being told here and they just want to know what happens next. Alright, the Lithomancer. Whew. Oh wait, yeah, sorry, I'm going to ask, did you want to do a distraction or are you doing some sort of countermeasure? Countermeasure?
I mean, the loud noises, I think, are
clanging swords?
Yeah, that kind of is self-explanatory, isn't it? So.
Okay. Alright. Speaking of swords, back to the Stone-Forged Mystic, who has been hard at work creating these mastercraft weapons, and they seem to be hardening, fully forming into these magical swords, pulled from the very stone themselves. Now, do I have any more images? Yes, I do. Okay. So with these two swords of glowing heat, she turns to the next two boulders. She shoves these away, and then goes up to the next. And for this section, she does much more of like a exhibit of some sort of martial arts. It's a dance mixed with swordplay, just showing off all the kind of precise cuts and such. But at the same time, when she slices through one of these rocks, but by the way, this sword makes it look like a hot knife through butter. The stone cracks and separates, almost floating away, and inside each rock, you see more swords glowing, already forging within. And you can see they're almost like a mold for each one. There you go, you can have a little look at these. And where's the swords? I forgot to bring them out. In one of them, you see a huge mace, like a great maul. And another one, you see a morning star. There they are. And all of them come alive as if they've just been birthed out of the rock and begin swinging around wildly. Eirina might be distracted by these. There are these flaming weapons that are coming out of the rocks that she slices with the swords. And as they separate, you see this war maul, a morning star, and all of them are sort of red hot like iron. And they just start spinning around, slicing even more. And each time they break open a boulder, there's another weapon inside, and it just continues until there's like at least half a dozen animated weapons spinning across the stage. Yeah. Okay. Let's roll. Let's roll her weaponry for this. Ooh, damn, she's actually killing it.
Damn.
She is certainly killing it. And it seems the Great Khan also approved. Showing martial prowess. Showing the ability, the potential for, power. Is definitely something that the Great Khan appreciate. Nonetheless, the stones are being shattered into pieces, causing quite a lot of loud noises. The weapons flaming, they look dangerous and uncontrolled almost, but I'm going to say that the sounds of these weapons kind of also they kind of almost drown out your stomping and clanging as well. They're actually going to attempt to effectively distract Andi and Eirina with this one. And they're going to put a concerted effort to distract you and sort of a minor distraction towards the illusionist. So basically -2 to Andi, -1 to this guy. But Andi, you have potential to just completely ignore all of this. So I'm going to say you, with all this loud clanging going on and the cracks and these boulders, they're quite distracting. You can give me a Constitution saving throw. Okay. And she rolls a 27. You are, in fact, very distracted by this. Some of the debris, when she slices open a rock, as it shatters and tumbles, you see bits of rock and pebbles actually land on the palace walls, creating a bit of chaos and dismay towards some of the stagehands as well. And especially to you, Andi, as you're swinging from the rope, one of these pebbles hits you upside the head as well. And I'm afraid I'm gonna deduct 2 points from Andi. It's a bit more even now. So you're still in the lead. You're still in the lead. And as for the illusionist, I'll quickly roll his con save as well. And unfortunately, he's distracted as well. Okay. All right. For this guy's next act, he sees the weapons going on, and he's like, "Ah, perfect! This is just the prop I was looking for. If you wouldn't mind, could I borrow one of these weapons?" And he says, "Now I'll need another volunteer." And this time he does pick out someone from the audience. And you see this large box rise up from the center of the stage. And he says, "If you would please climb inside." They do so. And he grabs one of these weapons from the Stoneforge Mystic after they've given permission. And you see, like, "Oh, it's hot." That's probably what distracts him. He actually burns his hands on the swords. And then he begins systematically, one by one, stabbing the swords into the box, which to the crowd's gasps, they think that they've really just killed someone inside that box. They're stabbing them. He says, "There's no chance of survival. I will pierce them from every angle." And he does so. You can see on the side of the box, there's more of these holes. The swords just cut through, and before long, this box has got like several swords stabbed through every single direction. Afterwards, he pulls them out, burning himself again, and he out of the box emerges the same individual. They look bewildered. They're like, what?" Shrugging. "What the hell? I felt something hot, but I'm completely unharmed." And he says, "Take a bow." And everyone's like, "Wow," clapping and clapping. Okay, let me just roll his performance, see what he gets here. Although, I guess it's more of a deception. Yeah, we'll use his deception this time around. He's better at just. Oh, flipping out! There we go. He's finally back on the scoreboard with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 points for that. Nice. Yeah, God knows he needed that. Elias, take it away for Act 2.
So, I just want to mention, technically, that last roll would have been with advantage because I wear my tap shoes.
Yes.
So
I
would
almost
I be
forgot his distraction as well. Sorry.
because I think it matters in this that I roll advantage or not. Because I might not be able to use performance again in a while. So can I roll that with
Wait,
advantage?
what do your tap shoes do? They give you advantage.
Yeah, they do in performance when I'm using them.
We didn't mention that you were using tap shoes. I'm gonna say
Definitely
that's
been
kind of
using. I would definitely have been using them. It seems very counterintuitive to be wearing my boots of stability during a performance.
well, you never know. You might need them for the tremors.
I am flying right now as well. It's up to you, but I
Well,
would
it's kind of.
definitely have been using them.
I'll say this: if you can work them into the next act, I'll say you can potentially still use them. You've also got another one after this, right? So
No, I'm not going to use performance again because I'll lose points. So
well,
anyway, so it goes
hold on,
from
before anything, I just forgot I need to do a distraction for this guy.
okay.
Which yeah, it's distracting. Definitely seeing someone skewered alive. I'm gonna say he distracts the ones either side of him, and I'm gonna roll for that one as well. Still using deception for this. So you gotta get DC 16, Elias. Your Did you tell me if you was counteracting this or you Are you trying to just get? Are you trying to just?
I actually don't need to counteract this. This is sight, and there's walls either side.
True, but perhaps you hear the. He probably makes another illusion of sounds of screaming as the swords are being impaled into the box.
Well, this does come into what I was going to say for my counter-attack thing, because there are noises going about. I'm using thunderclap very timedly with the music to cause like sounds of bangs and basically
Okay.
percussion.
You're trying to drown it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but as part of my song.
In that case, then it's a contested roll. And hey, look, guess what? You can use your performance to contest it. And you can have advantage because you're using the tap shoes. There you go.
Yeah.
We got it. There you go. And you're unfazed because the tippity tappity drowns out the screamity yelling. And you're fine. So, as you were.
Anyway. So it goes into like after he's defeated the enemy, and every time he hits an enemy, it's the thunderclap of a crack timed with the music. It slows down into like as he pulls out his loot into like an Eagles Hotel California sort of storytelling.
Okay.
And as Kesh'an comes across this big open gap as the floor drops in front of him down the middle, and there's a the mirror image shows like a drawbridge raised up on a castle wall, and he jumps across, and as he jumps, it looks like he's lifting up pillars underneath him to create a way across, and it's the bottom of the major image shows like what looks like lava, so he's creating pillars that he's jumping across this lava pit.
Okay. Nice.
And then
overcoming the element.
And then he manages to get to the wall. He climbs up it, and then the wall flips. When he comes back over the wall, it looks like he's climbed over a castle wall and back into the space. As I fly past again, if I have the right thing, and get him to pull out another card.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Roll a d32.
16, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
a lich.
Well, a lich.
All right.
I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Did you say 16?
16. That's a kobold.
As a kobold.
So it's the cackling kobold, and at the same time, yeah. As I throw the card, I also pull out my dagger, rapier, and hand crossbow, and chuck them behind me as well, and cast animate objects.
Okay.
As this kobold has summoned these objects to fight alongside him against Kesh'an.
Nice. So he's doing battle with this swobold that's got more animated. We've seen so many different animated things. There's so much fighting going on in the second act.
True.
All right, then.
So his fighting is more like acrobatic, like kicks and stuff, I would hope, as he's fighting these things. So I'm going for acrobatics. Yeah.
Go ahead. You want me to roll it?
Yeah, and I would have inspired him as well. For Act 2 as well.
Okay.
So D10.
21.
Brings it up to a 21.
Okay. That's still at least 2 points.
As he dispatches with these guys.
Very nice.
And
okay.
That's Act 2.
Very cool. All right. All right, moving on. The Shroud is. This is the final act. Make it good. The Shrouded Siren begins. There's this violin music, and yet they're still laying on the ground. The violin is raising up, playing a sad melody, just of its own accord, almost as if an unseen servant is standing over them, playing some sort of eulogy. And this sad tune begins shifting, turning from sadness into perhaps hope. That hope sort of taking flight, taking wings, as you start to see the Shrouded Siren beginning to move. There's a cheer from the audience as they rise to their feet, grab a hold of the violin, and suddenly break out into a really fast-paced, action-packed piece. Let's see. What have we got for this? Yeah, something like that. For this, you suddenly revitalize as if full of energy, dancing from one side of the stage to the other. You see these kind of ethereal steps suddenly rise up out of the ground, seemingly taking a page out of your book, Elias, and using elevation as part of the act, and rising higher and higher to the top, and almost to the point where they're touching the amber pillar that shines. And as he touches it with the violin, it too kind of begins glowing with amber, and he becomes alive. Just an explosion of color and light. The music just captivates the audience and gets everyone riled up. And as one final crescendo, I guess, he throws the violin into the air. It's still sort of letting loose this sound, the last sort of song that they did, and it eventually just explodes. The violin just shatters into pieces, and it rains down not marble, but some sort of riches. It's like shining gemstones, like little glittering, just tiny pieces, but they seem to be actually showering into the audience, and they're cheering, and they're like, "Oh my god!" It turns into a scramble as everyone's trying to get pieces of this dust. It's maybe it's ruby dust. Yeah, we'll go with ruby dust. But either way, even by picking it up, and the crowd is sort of clapping and cheering for them, he's really trying to almost buy the audience, it seems. And we'll give him one more performance check. Once again, they are simply going for the same sort of performance again everywhere. So yes, tail moves. Nonetheless, it's their best roll by far. Okay. But yeah, that's 33. Yeah. Damn. Even with it being kind of stale, still putting up the performance of a lifetime. So it would be 15, 20, 25, 30. So it would be 4 points, but I'm going to deduct 2, so it's a total of 7. And the Great Khan also sees this, appreciates a show of wealth. There we go. Alright, and that's that. The Juggler. The Juggler is... What's the most dramatic thing you could possibly juggle as a final act? Flaming chainsaws, perhaps? Could be something dangerous. We've had the live juggling.
I'm trying to think. What would be something dangerous to juggle that fits with the theme?
Something explosive the minute you drop it.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking something like that. But what is obviously...
the bomb flowers from Ocarina of Time.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely use that.
Mining charges.
Yes. Perfect as well. There's a plethora of elements found within the Earth elemental plane, and no doubt people understand what's a reactive element and what isn't. So we see that these gemstones that kind of grow into flower shapes. They're beautiful to behold, but everyone knows that they're actually deadly. If they're shaken or if they impact something, they're like nitroglycerin. They just explode upon impact, and everyone sees them, and then everyone's in the crowd is like, no, 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 he can't be, is he? Is he? And yes, he starts tossing these up into the air, and with his third arm, you do see these mining charges are also thrown in just for extra measure. And in addition to that, you see pyrotechnics across the ground. It lights the floor on fire. There's a ring where it's safe around him, but if one of these throws go off to the side too far, it's going to cause a lot of danger.
I'm thinking maybe as part of like the final bit of the performance, maybe he purposely makes them explode and they explode into like fireworks instead.
Yes.
For like a visual spectacle.
Distraction. Definitely. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Okay, so
I don't know why I'm just kind of ruining this guy. I seem to be coming up with ideas just for him.
Yeah, everyone's rooting for. He's great. You can see he's keeping a keen eye on every one of these explosions as they rise up into the air, catching them with enough depth that because he has to like catch it and lower his hand down so there's not an impact when he catches it. So it's kind of this very fluid motion, which you don't normally see from Earth elemental creatures. They're normally quite, robotic and jagged in movements. This one seems very kind of like dexterous and deft. And yeah, nonetheless, you see these explosions getting higher and higher into the air. And at one point, the three arms catch all of them in one go and tosses all of them up into the air. And there's no way they can possibly catch them all at the same time because they spread out into the air and across the stage. And suddenly, as that happens, you see the flames erupt around him. Looks like they burst into fire. They disappear from view. And as they land, as you say, they actually explode into these beautiful fireworks that light up the stage and the entire chasm that this stage is built under. And you're thinking at first, oh, this is amazing. And then you're wondering, wait, what happened to him? As the flames die down and there's a little bit of smoke rises up from the stage. Most people catch it if they've got a high enough perception. But you see a false trap door open back up and he re-emerges if you're taking cover below stage.
Would he even need one of those? Being a Zorn, can he just go through the wall? Because they can move through walls, right?
That's what I said. A trapdoor opens up and the Zorn jumps out. And everyone's like, yeah, he's alive, cheering. The Zorn takes a bow in 3 different directions. And that's it. That's their finale. Okay, so what should we
Zorn,
roll?
my friend.
Let's see. The final stat that I use. I think this is performance, mostly. Actually, I'm going to use their dex again. They've already used it once, but it's a really good stat. They don't care if they get a -1 for this. Oh, in addition, they're going to also roll a d10. Mechanically speaking, they have something. So they get 1, 2. Yeah, they get 2. -1, sadly. So 6.
Almost
I
feels
respect
like
it.
a sleight of hand in a way.
Yeah, I'll explain afterwards why they get an extra 1, but still. And the judge adores the use of explosions and mining charges. Very good use of explosions. Hold on, can everyone see? One can see that too. Just to be hidden. All right, finally, Andi, your final act. here. This is the stormy sea.
I mean, it's partly that. I think that's kind of ended at this point. This is the wash up onto shore.
Yeah, this is the sort of bit where obviously Andy's mother has flown away, so disappeared.
So this is all on Eirina's acting skills right now.
So the way I've got it in my head is that the boat is going to sort of come to a stop and like tilt forward, so it looks like it's crashed, essentially.
Yeah.
All the water will stop and still. And then this is the part where like the Sultan kind of like tracks them down. And like this is the part where obviously Andy's father gets like executed and whatever. And what I really
we weren't going to do that bit. I thought we were just going to end it with them him washing up onto.
Is that where we're going to leave it? I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't going to go that far in the story.
Okay.
You wanted to leave the cliffhanger, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, we can do it anticlimactic.
What I was thinking before you say it, anticlimactic, is that when Eirina's kind of like playing the dad washing up on the shore, Andy's specifically from where she is hiding up in the rafters or whatever, if there is rafters, she's specifically going to sing a song that he used to sing to her when she was a baby, like a lullaby kind of thing.
Okay.
So it kind of like echoes as it comes down, like a voice from the heavens, if you will.
Right. This is the calm after the storm. It's bringing the mood back down to earth. You've had this high octane action, and now the mood shifts and turns. Is this a tragic ending? Everyone's got like holding their breath. They don't want it to be. They're wondering what the rest of the story entails. And this is clearly loads of people on the edge of their seats wondering what's going to happen as you play this, as you say, lullaby-like tune. There's even a couple of stony tears in the audience. Give me that. Oh, what did you want to roll as your performance? Is it going to be performance? I'm guessing.
Probably going to be performance this time, isn't it? So.
All right. We can totally do that. Washed up on the shore. This.
Ooh.
What I would like to do is just at the very, very end, is as Andy is doing this thing where like it's music almost as if it's coming from the heavens. Eirina is going to stick her hand underneath the amber doll and use create bonfire to get light going through it.
Yes.
To make it be like, you know what, this child is special. Like,
yeah. The radiance, the glowing amber, lights up as you create this kind of. I'll say that the fog and the clouds up ahead is created this kind of large shadow over the stage. Everything's quite dark on this dismal shore. But the amber glowing and lighting up is still on the ship, isn't it? The amber.
the ship is over, the amber is with the dad,
Okay.
so they're both washed up on the
Gotcha.
shore.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing that sort of glows in the sand, a diamond in the rough, so to speak. But this lighting effect is sort of wowing the audience as well. They can see it's real amber, that's for certain. And yeah, this lullaby as the man is coddling the child, holding it to their chest, and looks back out to sea, wondering that fate of the ship. Which, as the ship is probably descending, you see it maybe fall beneath the stage. But it's done in a way that's sort of shrouded and distant. You're not sure where the ship's gone. And yeah, you can definitely create some wave-like effects again with the Earth Elemental. The Earth Elemental is creating a sort of a lapping wave sound. But yes, that's and you're counteracting this. So any potential distractions, which are about to happen right now, because as this beautiful lullaby is going on, there is suddenly this incredibly loud explosion that echoes and deafens most of the audience. So I'm gonna say
Can we
this.
time that with crashing of the boat?
And
Yes, that's your countermeasure.
Yes.
Okay,
can
cool.
I intercede with my countermeasure?
Yes. What is your?
Now that I'm no longer concentrating on anything, my next step is to bring up another major image of a giant sign that says "This way," as a means of getting eyes on me. So I want to aid rather than to countermeasure my own performance, seeing how it's going.
Okay.
And
so you want to give advantage to Kesh'an?
well, no, I'm aiming to goad the other performances to bring what they've got towards me rather than Andi.
So focus their distractions on distracting Kesh'an and Elias rather than distracting Andi.
Oh, you're sacrificing yourselves.
Amazing.
But it also plays into what I want to roll next anyway.
All right.
Ah.
All right. I will allow this as your countermeasure. You can indeed do this, and as maybe subconsciously, maybe consciously, the Zorn throws that giant explosion towards that end of the stage nearest you, Elias, rather than towards Andi. And yeah, one of them lands on your square and explodes, causing all three of these on the left-hand side of the stage to make I'm gonna say yeah, it's gonna be a con save, right? Because it's a loud tremor and explosion. Yeah, let's
Could
go with
also
a
be
concentration
dex
check.
save if it was something like fireball.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, dex save can work as well. Dex or con, either one's good.
Are we doing Dex then?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can choose.
Nice.
And that's not Andy's. That's the Shrouded Sirens. They got 15, and finally the Illusionist. It's they're old. They got a good con. There we go. A 22. All right, and I'm gonna just roll for the Earth Elemental they get in terms of tossing this thing in there. 22. Okay. Ooh,
Wow.
Welcome back. So the only one who passes is the Illusionist. He doesn't take any minuses. Unfortunately, Elias, this loud explosion that rocks your section of the stage makes everything, maybe some of the walls that you've got crumble. Kesh'an loses balance for just a moment. Anyway, and I think he failed just as well. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go on to the final Stoneforge Mystic. I'll make this quick. They funnily enough, not meaning to copy you, but they have got this final showdown as well that they had planned. So after they've kind of amassed this army of weaponry, you see their stagehands come on. They are creating illusions of an incredibly large alien-like creature with bifurcated limbs, like the basically split at the elbow with many hands. They've got this purplish reddish color over all of their sinewy like flesh. It's like they have no skin, but in some places there is bone protruding, like plates of it over their head, and they move along on a writhing chthonic skirt of tentacles, and they just rush forward towards this creature. No one has ever seen a creature like this before, except maybe Titan. Weirdly enough, only Titan's seen something like this. They are known as Eldrazi, and she turns, and her face has gone from this very meditative state to suddenly incredibly stern and angry, and you can see her eyes glow with vengeance. She strikes forward, looks like she's reliving a battle as the weapons come forward and slice through limb and bone. As these creatures that rush forward, they begin to swarm around her. She becomes this kind of blender of flaming weaponry that strikes down everything. And there's this ending scene of just her standing over a battlefield of hundreds of these corpses, basically, breathing heavily. And finally, the weapons sink back into the earth, and she sits back down, kneeling, almost like in a praying kind of way. And she kind of places her hand on the rocks, and you see the rocks beginning to heal, like the wounds that have been dealt to this land, the weapons she drew from them. The earth fixes itself. And again, the Great Khan definitely approves of this. And I'm going to use her acrobatics, maybe? It's sort of athletics, actually. She's not got a terribly great athletics, but hey, I didn't roll great. Yeah, sadly, however, she looks exhausted after this. Looks like most of the effort was in pulling the weapons. She sort of strained herself. But perhaps that's also realistic of the battle. This isn't a battle of glory. This is a battle of great sacrifice and a land that was left devastated. And she's telling a story in the end after all, telling of her homeland, Zendikar. Anyway, that's hers. Done. Okay, the illusionist. I'm looking at the time. We're running out of it, so I'm going to skip it and go to Kesh'an. He's like in the bottom place anyway. So let's just finish off with your performance, Kesh'an.
So he starts running up the steps that appear around this pillar that rises with a juk mug upon it. And I go to the front up top and I place this sign up seeing Andi about to be berated with what people are doing. And he just sighs to himself and then brings out this way sign, all sparkly and come get me, but also towards the people who matter, look at me sort of thing.
Yeah.
When he's suddenly thrown from his horse because of what happened, and Kesh'an starts to slip, but manages, after a big stumble and fumble, to climb up. And I pull around here and pull out Haran's organ.
Oh yeah, the one he had in the estate.
Yeah. And begin to play this big sort of like Sephiroth sort of boss battle theme as Kesh'an finally gets to the top of this elevated platform that starts to lower so everyone can see it.
Yeah, I'll get rid of the rest of the pillars.
And he brings out, as he announces, as like a mid sort of song, as you would talk from the stage to the audience, to like, come see the Great Dow versus the Metal Tor. And he brings out the metal construct.
Yeah.
Which Kesh'an and goes like fist to fist with a few help of making it look like he's throwing rocks instead of punching, and he manages to leap over and free juk mug from his binds, and they fight together against this thing until it is subdued and on its last legs. And then just as Juk Mug's about to do the final blow, Kesh'an as a Dow shows mercy because he's great and doesn't need to kill. He has the power to control any situation and shows mercy until it starts to heat up, and then I cast Shatter on it to make it explode, and Kesh'an and Jugmug dive out of the way and bring up a wall,
Nice.
protect themselves, and then they, with victory, they embrace each other as respective companions would, as they bring a fist into the air, and the whole section of our platform, just with everyone's help, just lowers the whole stage. As I bring up a major image of the castle, as they're bringing this castle down into the depths of the earth, as they would prefer.
Ah, yes, the castle beneath the earth.
And as that's happening, I'm going with it. The sound of the organs just echoing upwards until it just silence.
Beautiful. There is a standing ovation from the audience, and oh yeah, did you want to make this?
So
Sorry.
the role is persuasion, because I'm persuading them all to look and pay attention this way.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
That was my idea. Persuasion, because it's. And I'm
Hey,
going
you get some points.
to use my inspiration, my DM inspiration, to try and
Oh, okay. Sure.
up that. If it'll do anything.
Yeah,
I didn't do anything.
You can re-roll. So when you click that, it just toggles it off, and then you can do another one. Hey, you get an extra point for that. Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. And the DAO definitely approves of the use of that imagery, the castle going beneath into the earth. I'm losing my breath. Excuse me. The illusionist pulls off some crazy trick that they actually got some points for it. I forget what it was, but we'll just skip over and say they pulled off some crazy trick.
They
and
got 30.
Yeah, they did. They got a good, but I deducted 1 point because they've used this before, and also why not going to try and distract Elias, because you're trying to bring it on to yourself anyway.
Sprung everything on me. I've goaded the whole everybody. It would almost goad Andi and Eirina if they didn't know I was being obnoxious on purpose.
So you can give me like a Constitution saving throw, Elias. And
19. It's not good enough.
it's not. They focused all their efforts on you, by the way, so they just gave you -3 in the end.
Yeah. So the sound of the organ goes down, and then you hear like as it echoes, you hear it hit the wrong one, and you just hear him go shit. As that echoes up as well.
Yeah, as it goes silent, you're like shit. Everyone's like, oh. Okay, so that concludes the Great Khan's talent show. How well did our performances do? I hope you enjoyed every ounce of them. It seems the judges have made up their mind. They're giving out their scores now. 6 from Shirizu, the assertive. 6 from something. The entertained. 6 points from them. 9 points from Stony McStoneface. He's given quite
Stony McStoneface, the one who is stone-faced. That's his title.
Yeah. Rock'em Sock'em Dow has given 5 points, and 8 points from the lovely Luciel.
No way did the illusionist get that much.
I don't know how he just suddenly stormed up there in the end. I don't know, but he did it. He pulled it off, and he got a 30. But
he made himself disappear.
Yeah, I may have miscounted, but I'm sure it doesn't matter at this point. and 3 points, I'm afraid. It seems those distractions really did put you off your game. However, the Great Khan has also given his own bonus points, and he has awarded, starting with... We'll start with the least. He gave 0 to the illusionist. These are... And he stands up. Petty parlor tricks. I've seen them all. And next lowest, he gave to the Shrouded Siren. He gave 1 point. Hold on, I'll reveal these just one by one real quick. There they are. 0. 1 point. A beautiful performance, no doubt. However, music is only one element. The Earth elemental plane is full of an abundance. I would have liked to have seen something else in addition. And next, 2 points to Elias and Kesh'an. A beautiful use of imagery, of architecture, and combat. In fact, prowess in combat. I'm going to award an extra point, giving you a total of 6.
So we raise up on the platform just big enough for all 3 of us as we take a bow.
Yeah. 2 points also goes to the Zorn, as they have shown a master of juggling, and those explosions were indeed a display of power, but also the gemstones were a display of wealth. Didn't much like the weird armadillo things. They kind of weird. And the crowd's like, "What? Boo, boo!" And everyone's like, "You dare bow?" The Dal guard like, "You dare bow at the Great Khan?" They're like,
We forgot who he was.
yeah. Whoops. And finally, wait, hold on. We got also 2 points awarded to Andali. I'm not much fan of water. However, I am not much a fan of thievery either. But a gemstone such as that amber was a treasure perhaps worth coveting. And he also awards a point for creative use. The earth elementals controlling the waves. In a way, the earth is still the most powerful element. Also, there were dust methods as well. So I can see that yes, Earth's mastery over water and air. And lastly, 3 points to the stonemason, the Stoneforge mystic, displayed culture, a power of the elements, and a power of a strength of arms. And he awarded a point almost every single round to them, similar to how Elias, much to my liking.
So
And
in the
given
end, it
that,
ended up as first place Andi, then a
Yeah.
joint second place for 3 of them, then
yeah,
the Shrouded Siren, and then last Elias.
correct, yes. And during all of this, towards the very end, Andy, you see that the Shrouded Siren is staring directly off at you during this whole thing. And there's a much cheering and celebration. You have a moment to sort of congratulate each other. And you see the illusionist kind of going up, shaking your hand, Elias. The Stoneforge Mystic heads over to you, Andy, and takes a deep, respective bow. And you see the Zorn and the Shrouded Siren are heading towards you, Andy, as well.
Is Kirstie still here?
Yeah, but I do really need to go to bed.
That's okay. Shall we do the reveal then? Or
Yes.
You're saving it. You want it now?
No, like do it next time, because then
Next
everyone's
time.
going to be like,
Okay. All right.
I'm going to be
Reveal
more awake for it then, so.
next week. So we'll leave off with Andy being celebrated as the champion, the competition winner, just as
Not
everyone
just
is
me,
going.
Eirina and all my crew.
Of
We're all
course.
Irina's
part
already
of it.
gone over to the Stoneforge Mystic and is like, that was awesome.
Excellent. So in that case, yeah, as you're being rose up, the other contestants beginning to congratulate you. We will end tonight's session, and you have won the Great Khan's approval. Fantastic. Let's tune in next week. I know these guys all want to get to bed, so see you all then. We'll hopefully have.
Karius is just off somewhere getting drunk. Let's face it.
Nope,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
knows where Karius is. Though
Kesh'an is busy. We will jump to that next week as well.
Hmm.
We need to do some rolls for that.
Yes.
Okay, we'll catch you all then. See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.